Something has changed within me.
Hey.
Welcome to Three and a Half Gentlemen, the podcast where three of the four hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, while one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which. But for now, my name is Sean, and singing along with me, as always, are my fellow wizards, Jeremiah.
Unlimited. Together we'll
Limited.
Yo.
Eddie.
You've been Galindified.
And Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie, when I think of you, I loathe it all.
You're my dear friend.
Like, literally, I feel like this movie is you and me if we
He's
ended
a
up having a
couch,
roommate
like.
together. Just saying.
I can
Yeah.
see that, actually.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Wicked Part 2. This is what we got here.
Yeah.
Me.
Something has changed within me.
Ooh.
Popular.
Welcome to Three and a Half Gentlemen, the podcast where three of the four hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, while one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which. But for now, my name is Sean, and singing along with me, as always, are my fellow wizards, Jeremiah.
Unlimited. Together we'll
Limited.
Yo.
Eddie.
You've been Galindified.
And Brandon.
Eddie, when I think of you, I loathe it all.
You're my dear friend.
Like, literally, I feel like this movie is you and me if we
He's
ended
a
up having a
couch,
roommate
like.
together.
I can
Yeah.
see that, actually.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Wicked Part 2. This is what we got here.
Yeah.
As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question. How many drinks does it take to get through the film that we just watched? Now, at the end of the podcast, we'll rate the film based on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 being the perfect film that you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 being sort of the film that makes you feel like you just had wings magically ruptured through your back skin, which, by the way, I will never, ever look at a flying monkey the same way.
The
again.
same way. Never at all.
Ever again. I felt so bad.
I kind of just want to see a flying monkey now. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, tonight,
10
if
years
you
from
haven't caught on, we're going to be talking about, the movie that is sweeping the country by storm.
What movie is that?
That is indeed Wicked, the first movie in a two-part franchise, which is based off the hit Broadway show. Wicked tells the story before The Wizard of Oz, namely answering the question of how did the Wicked Witch of the West become the evil presence she becomes when Dorothy arrives via tornado. We see Elphaba, the pre-Wicked Witch, as an outcast woman with green skin who attends Shiz, a college for burgeoning wizards and witches in the land of Oz. At Shiz, Elphaba strikes up a friendship with the popular Galinda. The ga is
Galinda.
silent.
The G is silent. Belinda.
But Eddie, in case you're wondering, when a conspiracy involving the deceptive Wizard of Oz is uncovered, the two women must choose what they truly care about. And when you say the summary, it just sounds so good, doesn't it? Directed by
It
Jon
does.
M. Chu.
It sounds unlimited.
Sounds like it's been done before.
I feel like it's been done after, and we're going to have to talk about that ripoff. Anyway, directed by Jon M. Chu and starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, Wicked has an IMDb rating of 7.6 out of 10, has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 88% with the critics, and an audience score of 95%.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little high.
It's never part of
It
the
makes
movie.
me think, though, why was The Wizard of Oz called The Wizard of Oz more about Dorothy and her friends,
Just read the script,
Well,
Ed.
first of all,
Yeah.
there's a whole set of novels about Oz.
I
Only one of them
I
has
know that.
Dorothy.
Well, the movie, The Wizard of Oz, I feel like the name was misleading.
No, that's her goal.
You know,
What should
makes
be
me
called
think.
Girl Alone on
How about,
Brick Road?
yeah, the Yellow Brick Road right there. Just that'll be an awesome,
that's an
badass
Elton
movie.
John.
Go ahead, Ed. I'm
Let's
sorry.
be
Go ahead.
All right, so we try a pair of movies or series with a cocktail that we hope will enhance the viewing experience. Tonight, we're drinking the Ozmopolitan. The ingredients and description can be found on our Instagram page, where you can also find other fun facts, images, trailers, and clips from our podcast. This movie better be good with this drink.
Eddie, way to nail that on the first take, dude.
The Ozmopolitan.
All right, if you're listening to us on a platform for podcasts, we thank you so much and invite you to shoot on over to our YouTube channel where you can see our bright and shiny faces and you can ring that bell. We're going to have some weekly discussions, also some flubs and stuff on Instagram and YouTube, and you can get some prized information over there. So please enjoy this review. And, like I said, Jeremiah puts a lot of effort into the Instagram page. The @thegentleman.podcast. I'm sorry, @the gentleman podcast. The dot means a lot. Find us there and enjoy. Thank you so much. Let's just start the review. I'm very excited for this one. I don't know why I'm so excited, but here we go.
I can tell you
It's
why.
long overdue
Because it's a
for some of you guys.
amazing film that I'm excited to talk about with my 3 favorite friends.
So did you see this in play form, or did you see, this is the first time you've seen any media or anything with Wicked? Jeremiah?
So me and Hannah, we wanted to see the play. We saw the play about a month ago, and then we saw the movie the day afterwards. And the play, unbelievable, probably one of the best plays I've ever seen. Broadway, which I'm referring to that. And the movie, I think the director made the impossible possible, what he was able to bring on screen. So
yeah. To be clear, you saw the play Broadway, but not first run.
Not the first run. Some other new people that are not
okay.
Not the OGs like the Menzel,
Idina Menzel,
and Kristen, which was really nice to see them in this movie.
Yes, it was.
The 2 main stars in the Broadway play still fucking knocked out of the park. It was wonderful to see. So yeah, went 2 for 2. One day and the next day we saw the movie, and you know what? Happiness.
Brandon,
yeah.
Did you see it in what happened?
Yeah. So years and years ago, I'm gonna say it's probably close to 12, 13, 14 years ago. Say that. We went with Amanda's family, and we went to Pantages in LA, and I was not looking forward to it because I was like, I don't know if I really want to see this musical. Of all the ones out there, don't know if this is going to be the one that I want to see. But I went, and I mean, everybody else was like, that was really good. And I was like wanting to run down Sunset or whatever that is and just start screaming, everybody go in and see this play. It is the greatest thing ever. And I just wanted to throw roses at the stars. Yeah. So I saw the traveling company, but at the same time, I became like a Wickedite in that moment. So I'm going to jump ahead now 14 years or whatever, when I saw the first trailer of this, and I'm like, God dang it, they're going to absolutely ruin this. This is one of the greatest things in my life, and they're going to ruin it. And spoiler alert to the end, Eddie, I don't care what you think. Jerry, you're right. I've just fucking made the impossible possible, and holy crap, they did it justice.
So, yes. Ed, obviously you did not see it in Broadway, or because this is the first time you've seen it. It's a movie.
At least ask me the same question.
Did you see it on Broadway, or did you see it?
I have never seen this.
Darn you, Sean.
I believe I was supposed to see. Yeah, at least I know, right? I was supposed to see with you.
And he never.
I can't remember.
Oh, he didn't show up.
Baines had to cancel. I had to cancel. I had to cancel.
That's bullshit. Eddie never cancels anything. I don't understand how that would happen. Dude never cancels anything.
It was before law school, so it was like 2008, 2009.
Was there snow?
I mean, we were still in college, Brandon. So I had money issues of trying to find a ticket, buy the ticket.
So I had tickets.
So I was also thinking the same thing that Brandon was thinking, because I knew on show the Broadway was a hit. So I wasn't like, dumb here. Like I was aware of, okay, the show was amazing. I was afraid that the movie was going to ruin the show. I was hoping that was going to hit. So that's all I'm going to let you know about what I'm thinking about it. So how about you, Oz?
So I saw this at Seagram in Orange County with actually your in-laws, Brandon. No, your family in-laws.
The one in Costa Mesa?
Yeah. The Schwartz.
Right.
Yeah, so it was magnificent, obviously, and it was a good experience. Loved it and everything. But I think I talked about this when we were talking about Bad Times at the El Royale. I was very concerned that people would not treat Cynthia Erivo with, not respect, but I thought they would try to compare her so significantly to Idina Menzel and Ariana Grande, for that matter, to Kristen Chenoweth. I thought that would diminish some of the movie. And what I was pleasantly surprised with is, in my opinion, they took it in a different direction. So Cynthia Erivo took her character and the main song, Defying Gravity, in kind of a different direction than Idina Menzel did. And I'm happy for it because it's not really comparable, and they're both just excellent.
Yeah.
And she's so talented. Oh, she's such a talent. It's funny because I think Ariana Grande has some of the best vocals you can possibly ask for, like in a person. I think she's one of the most talented musicians ever, and I think Cynthia Erivo gave her a run for her money.
Grande is so dynamic, and I think that's the thing that just blows me away because, I mean, most of this, I don't know if you guys know this, but most of this was recorded live on stage while they were going. Like, it wasn't...
So they're actually singing.
They're singing.
They're singing as they're acting, as they're moving.
Talented, bro. Just these two are so talented. Ariana Grande, by far my favorite this day of musician today.
I don't really care for her songs that much. Yeah. I just think her voice is so good.
Same.
I listened to her a little bit here. I'm not a huge fan of today's music, but when she comes on, she blows you away. And in this movie, what I was shocked about from the very start, it kicked you off from the very start of the movie. You had this idea that the voices were coming from so far deep within them and bursting out of them, and was effortless. And watching her as Galinda kind of come down on her bubble, and and she's so funny, and she's
So
so
poppy. She
and
is.
this beautiful dress, and she's a gorgeous woman, and then all of a sudden she starts to sing, and it just explodes from her. I remember watching Whitney Houston, and I remember when Whitney Houston really got going, her lip used to tremble. Remember that? In this movie, particularly, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande they got every ounce out of every song that they had. Beautiful.
And it's pretty amazing to see that this was like her dream role as a child. Like when she was little, like you see like, a lot of things online that she went to the original play, and she went, the backstage.
Who? Which one? Cynthia or
Ariana Grande?
Ariana Grande.
That
Wow.
this is the role that she wanted, the dream role. She met the original cast when she was little. Pretty awesome to see something like that, where you actually get to see someone's dream come true in a way where you're like, wow, you actually did it. It's almost like, and I'm going to say this in the best way, it's the Lord of the Rings achievement. And this is what I'm meaning by this.
Elijah Wood.
Because one of the biggest books out there, I imagine, for the last 20 years, right? And then it's one of the biggest plays, right? And for the life of me, I can't understand or figure out why the director did not get a Best Director nominations for this year's Oscar, or even the screenplay writers for Best Adaptation, because they did it, man. They made this unbelievable, like, history of everything and put it on screen and made it humongous, man. I can't figure it out.
I think I can answer a little bit. So I think that the detriment of this movie, that it's a 2-part movie. I think that it's really hard to give a best writer or best director when I haven't seen the conclusion of the film. And additionally, this story, I remember when it came out, and I remember thinking, oh, they totally flipped Wizard of Oz on its head. And villains are heroes, heroes are villains. We don't really know what's going on. It's about, the witches. And I'm so excited to kind of delve into this world. We only got a glimpse of it. We actually didn't even get that much story. And this is my criticism of the movie, is that most of the development of the story came in the last 15, 20 minutes. And of a 3-hour movie, I really appreciate, the backstory. I love the songs. I love the time it shiz. But I'm like, okay, what is this movie about? And you got a little bit with Pete Dinklage, you got a little bit with the animals, you got a little bit here, a little bit there, but you really didn't get a sense that something was wrong in Oz that needed to be fixed until the last
get to Oz,
10 minutes.
The last 30 minutes, yeah.
Well, something was up in the second half of it.
It starts and plays through with Defying Gravity. And I think this is one of the cool things that I love about this version of Defying Gravity, is that it's 20 plus minutes. Like I looked at the clock. It's 20 minutes from this time that the first notes of that song are sung all the way to the end of the movie is 20 plus minutes. And that's where the development happens, right? It's not just, she's being chased. It's not just that she's going out on her own. But I mean, I'll be honest, this is proof. This movie is proof that you can have a sustained goosebump attack for 20 plus minutes without it going away. And I think that that's one of the things that it's so powerful about this movie. And we keep talking about the music, and absolutely we can talk about Ariana Grande and we can talk about Cynthia Erivo and their musical talents. But what I think we need to also mention is the actual acting. I think that they played their characters so well. You got Grande, who handled the Kristen Chenoweth part, and she knocked it out of the freaking park. And Cynthia Erivo, I dare anybody to find a character who is more likable and more like rootable, where you want to root for, than Cynthia Erivo in this movie. And I think that is so dynamic. But I'll agree with you 100%, Sean, that this was not enough of a taste of the actual story, because the story, I think, man, just on a story level, Wicked is fantastic. What they do in the story to flip Wizard of Oz on its head, but also pay complete homage to it, is lost in this first part. And plus the fact that it is a 3-hour first part, that's
true. I'm hearing what you're saying about that. But what the director was able to do was to bring this world, this universe to life. Like, just when you watch like the Mongshan Land, and it's just so colorful and beautiful, the set designs, the cinematography, everything. I know that you're saying it's just a half of the story, but you know what? The Fellowship of the Rings, Two Towers, and Return of the King, Peter Jackson got nominated all 3 of those movies. he should have got nominated for this movie. Just saying, dude.
So I was getting the vibes of. It's funny how you guys are saying these great movies, because I was getting the vibes of almost like a Harry Potter. I don't know if any. Yeah, like this epic, like the scenery alone was. I felt like it took me to a different place. I really enjoyed seeing this land of Oz, or the shiz, and it was so beautiful. I felt like I dived into a whole different world. So I was enjoying that part a lot.
Number one is I love how the story and the scenery and everything about this movie made you believe in magic, even though it had zero magic. There was literally zero magic in this almost entire movie, except for Cynthia Erivo. Right. I get the idea they haven't had magic in this world for a long time, right? And it's just like, okay, so you're still in a world full of magic, but there is no magic. I imagine, obviously I was not alive, none of us were alive, when Dorothy stepped from the sepia world of Kansas into Oz for the first time. And I don't know, we're probably going to do this movie because I'm going to pick it. I'm not going to lie. We're going to do Wizard of Oz coming up here in this season. But when Dorothy steps from sepia, which is, for those of you who don't know, that's the brown, kind of gray, black and white tint of Kansas in that movie, and makes her way into Oz, which is like Technicolor. This is coinciding with a lot of movies are transitioning to color. That color is a relatively new concept, even though it's been around for a while, and no one has seen brightness and vividness like this movie before, ever. And so when she steps from sepia into color, it opens up a world of magic. And I felt like this movie did the same exact thing without the sepia. It just brought you into this world. When they go into the poppies and when they go into, it's just so gorgeous. I'm sorry.
I agree with you on that, Sean, and I think there was a little magic at the beginning of the movie, because from right at the start, you get the old school Universal logo, which is all black and white, that vintage looking, right? And then it switches to color, just like the original Wizard of Oz, and it has the original kind of font. And I'm just like, that was magic right there. It literally brought you from that Wizard of Oz movie that we have known for all our lives, our grandfathers, great-great-grandfathers, grandmothers, put it back right on the screen when we got a chance to watch it. And I thought that was kind of magical right there. I was like, dude, you just brought it back right there.
So, Brandon, elephant in the room, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to waylay you.
And it comes off of what we're talking about. But, Eddie, what you were saying is, kind of the movies that you see kind of spawning this. And I was watching it, and I've seen this now twice. I saw it in theaters, and then I watched it again on Blu-ray, because this is a movie that I want to own and find 3 hours of my time every once in a while and put it back in again. But I'm watching it, and I have it in my head. And right then, Amanda looks over and goes, God, this is the exact same story as Wednesday. And it is the exact same story as Wednesday. And I got to be honest, it felt like a ripoff. You got the dark, brooding teen, and then you've got the fun one who's all bright and colorful, and they room together. And guess what? Here's the other one. It isn't until a dance sequence that she's accepted. And I'm like, this is Wednesday Addams all over again. Yeah. Except instead of this, Jer, it's this. It's that.
I will say that is true of Grease. It's true of very many movies where the dance sequence change is the impetus to change.
Okay, so
the characters. But you're barking up a tree that has been visited many a time.
Friend. A couple years ago, we reviewed A Knight's Tale, right? We saw the same dance.
He was not accepted. It made her fall in love with him. That's a difference.
Yeah, he was pretty much accepted.
So something that I enjoy, and I feel like I think it really hits a good 2 nails in the main characters, is character growth. Like, I felt like I got character growth from both of these characters. I felt like from the very beginning, character development, character growth. You got something that you don't see a lot in these movies. In this movie, I feel like it nailed it real. Like, the 2 main characters, they showed you from the very beginning, and I think they both showed great aspects. I think for me personally, I'm more of a fan of Ariana, of her, I'm just a fan of her. But overall, they both had amazing development throughout the whole movie, and I enjoyed seeing that.
So I have a question for you, a really serious question, Ed. You have not seen the second part of this. Mm-hmm. Is Ariana Grande good? Is she on Cynthia Erivo's side, or is she abandon her?
I'm hoping they have a battle. I'm hoping they have a couple battles. But overall, I'm thinking in my head is like, Glinda has to learn some magic to fight back, because right now the witch has everything. So how are we gonna do this? Yeah.
Let me ask you something, guys. Do you think Defying Gravity is probably one of the greatest scenes of the decade or greatest songs of our generation? Like it's pretty.
Generation?
Well, I'm just
See,
saying for I'm just saying for Broadway plays. I'm just saying right now, like just even the movies. Do you feel like this is like when you
In
think of,
musicals?
like, musicals,
I think it's up
you
there.
put this one on the top.
No, I'm just going to go to Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'm going to go to Music of the Night, and I'm going to go to
So you're a fan of
Memory,
the opera.
and I'm going to go to Les Mis, and I'm going to go look at these songs. I mean, When the Tiger Strikes at Night. What's the name of that song? And they tear the world apart. Susan Boyle sang it on America or Britain's Got Talent. It was a beautiful, beautiful song. Anyway, the complexity of those songs, I think, are in kind and in tone than this. I think this is more popular and absorbable by society, and therefore it's going to rate higher. But I don't think that Defying Gravity is in the same league, let's say, as Music of the Night. I think Music of the Night is probably the greatest song that came out of the stage ever. I mean, that's my opinion.
Jesus Christ Jesus Christ Superstar. That song, I'm not joking. Like that song gets me. No, so here's my thought on Defying Gravity, and I think that this is going to be controversial and whatever. Is that I don't think that Defying Gravity is as good as people tend to make it out to be. That said, this version of it, I mean, 20 minutes of goosebumps. I mean, absolutely. As soon as that ends and she flies off, I'm like looking at the family going like, okay, we just watched that for 3 hours. Who's in for a rewatch right now? It just gets me going. If we're talking about technicality and musical quality, I don't think that it's the best. I don't think that it's the best, Broadway. I don't think that it's the best just song in general. What I love about it though, is that it doesn't matter if you're listening to the Cynthia Erivo version or the Adela Dazeem version, which I cannot ever think of Idina Menzel without thinking of Adela Dazeem. But it is that emotional catharsis, that emotional buildup, that release.
I think
that moment.
That's what we're looking for.
That moment, Jeremy, I think, that might be one of the greatest musical moments of any type of musical. That release when she just, explodes, and we're all like, yes.
Yeah.
But on
I think it captures the moment. Because if you look at something like Cabaret, which is, to me, the person who sings maybe this time was Liza Minnelli, I believe, Cabaret. And it's not a belty song. It's not this lofty, beautiful song. But it's guttural and visceral, and maybe this time I'll win. And they did it on Schitt's Creek. It was beautiful. But I think that those are the moments that capture the tone of the play. And then all of a sudden you have the song resonating with the story at the same time. And if you're looking for that moment, I think Defying Gravity may be the best. So I'm going to amend that, because if you're looking at tying what's going on screen or in the play and the song itself, Defying Gravity is one of the great.
I think I got to jump on Sean's back on that one. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's one of those songs that every theater kid, every Broadway person, every singer uses that as like, that is my goal. That is like, what I want to try to do and everything, So
structurally it's perfect because it happens right before the intermission, right? If you go see it on stage, that is the last thing before the intermission. I remember this was 14 years ago or however many years ago. I remember clearly that last note, and then the lights come on.
How the fuck they gonna top that?
I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up from the seat.
What I thought.
Did it take too long for them to play it in the movie, though? I feel like everyone was knowing that. I'm being honest. Like, I felt like it was an anticipation of, I was waiting for it nonstop. So it almost took me out of the moment of these other songs, because I was like, where the hell is this big ass song that's coming in soon? And it made me feel like these other songs weren't as good.
Okay, but I was actually going to say, I think this is one of the few musicals where all the songs are very good, as opposed to hit and miss songs. Mm-hmm. I think that Dancing Through Life is, we haven't talked about Jonathan Bailey. That whole sequence was beautiful, and he was fantastic. I mean, even Jonathan just Unlimited.
I didn't like Jonathan Bailey.
Hey, you didn't like Jonathan Bailey?
What?
That's the prince, right?
Fierro?
Yeah.
If you took him out of the movie, you have not missed anything in the movie.
Yes, you would, because you don't know who he...
Well, I mean, this movie, if he's not in the movie, you would still have, everything would still happen the same.
Nope.
Besides, everything would happen the same.
I think that guy's a movie star. I mean,
he is a movie star, yes.
He's gorgeous, cute.
His role did not matter in this movie. His role did not matter in this movie, it seemed.
I said,
so
he's gorgeous, cute, and fun.
Let me tell you why his role does matter, Ed. Is number one is
in the first part or the second part?
Both. In the first part, he created a bridge between Elphaba and Galinda. He created it.
He created turmoil. He created it.
But if you go to the back to the story, she kind of jokingly, let's say, Galinda invited Elphaba to that dance to show off the fact that she was with Fiyero. She had the wand given to her by we haven't even talked about
Michelle
Yeoh.
But
that was the turning because Galinda realized that she had everything and Cynthia Erivo had nothing, and still they were trying to come together.
On top of that,
and then you have the other relationship with when she does the poppies and gets the little baby lion cub. Then she has her connection with Fiyero, and it just
that's a lion
does
cub?
create.
That's a courageous little cub.
Yes, it is. You got to create the characters. I don't know how to say it without spoiling the whole story for you, but the fact that they both are in love with Fiyero, and Fiyero is a very intricate part of why they came together and who that character is.
I don't think Belinda's in love with him. Not anymore. She already said at points. She already said at point. Let me tell you why. Then you can jump in.
No spoilers.
So I was just saying,
no spoilers.
Galinda, he actually, unnoticing, she sent a branch out to Cynthia's sister, right, in the wheelchair. So she's the one that made the first. She doesn't know it, but she likes to be nice to people. So that's a good aspect of her. She tries to, right? So she already has this good part of her a little bit, but she still tries to bring people in, it seems. She's at the dance, and she sees it in herself, like, it has nothing to do with her dancing with the guy. She feels like, I did this to this girl, and she caused an issue. It would have happened either way if he was there or not.
Okay, wrong.
She was going to the dance.
So listen, I'm going to take this one. Number one, Ed,
Not
you're
wrong.
a little bit off because she told Bach to go invite Nessa Rose to the dance because she wanted to get Bach the hell away from her. That was a selfish move, and it was just like, go over there and oh, you know what would really make me happy is if you go and invite that girl. So that wasn't really her being nice. Now, granted, when she's at the dance, when she's at the dance,
happens in life 24/7.
That's the guy that goes, I would do anything for you,
anything.
right?
So that's her husband, by the way. That's Ariana Grande's husband.
Well, I mean,
no. They're not married yet. Yeah,
they're not
married.
left their partners for each other
because he'll do anything for her. Yeah. So yeah.
But here's the thing.
I don't see
this is the big thing. But this is the big thing. You're right. At the dance, that was Linda going out and saying, "I screwed this girl over. I'm going to make it right with my popularity." And I think that she genuinely turns a page at that moment.
Not for my popularity, because I just want to be nice to her.
Right. No, but it's not that. It's that she wants to make her popular. She wants to make her something on a level with herself. But here's the thing that I think that we
that was the
really
moment, though. That was the impetus.
Yeah, it was the moment for sure.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, is that she continues to care more about Elphaba because Fiyero cares so much about Elphaba. That Fiyero is a guy who has this brash demeanor, this facade up, and he is the most caring and kind-hearted person out there. And so I think that what you see with Fiyero is that he's the instigator of kindness towards her and get Glinda, who
he's the change agent
with it.
The perfect example of what you're talking about, Brandon, is the last scene before they go to Oz, and he's got the poppy in his lapel, the poppy that was kind of given to him by Cynthia Erivo, by Elphaba, and she changes her whole, Galinda changes her whole persona, her whole thought to fit in with what Fiyero is thinking. She changes her entire dynamic to align with his dynamic because she's trying desperately to hang on to that relationship. And what you don't realize, because you haven't seen the second part of the movie, and I'm not going to spoil it, is that dynamic between her desperation and Cynthia Erivo's kind of Elphaba's appreciation and burgeoning love for him really does create some lasting impressions.
Elfie invited Glenda on the boat on the train, so it goes both ways. I just say there's a friendship there without the prince. There was.
Well, it started with the prince.
It started
with the prince, yeah.
Because in a lot of ways, Galinda knew that the prince was somewhat under someone's spell, so to say, with Cynthia's character, because I think it was kind of the start of it, you know? But let's talk about Cynthia, because seriously, in that moment where she was making fun of, just the range of her emotions,
the eyes,
her pain,
and
you
just
felt the anger, and you felt the courage and you watch her just like triumph on that part, and just like accept that this is who I am. That was like one of those goosebump scenes.
Yeah, it was.
Where you're just like, wow, this actress is unbelievable, man.
And her development, like Eddie was saying, if you look at the beginning scenes when she dropped her sister off, not intending to stay at Shiz, to that point where she kind of, I would say, became herself at the after the dance. Okay, she became okay with herself. You've suffered your whole life, and you're preemptively judging these people and trying to put a wall up.
Yeah.
And then a defense, and then all of a sudden, when she breaks down that defense mechanism and dances and becomes accepting of herself, you see kind of a different character.
Sean, there are goosebumps on my legs
that character,
just from you talking about this.
I like that character much more than I like the original characters. And this is my criticism of Glinda as well, is I feel like Ariana Grande specifically did not loosen up and get good in the movie until Popular. She was very wooden. She was very proper, and then all of a sudden she let loose into a beautiful character full of insecurities and full of
Jerry, you go, then I go.
But I'm just saying that evolution, I liked her so much more, and I like her so much more for the evolution. I can appreciate the early performance better because of the change. Okay. If she had just stayed the same, I'd have been like, what are we watching?
That's exactly what I was about to say, and you just nailed it right there. Because she was kind of the whole Mean Girls vibe and everything like that.
I think what's interesting is absolutely, Sean. You hit it with Elphaba and her character development, is that we have that beautiful moment. But Jared, going back when she turns to the camera and it's a close up on her face.
That was Ed, by the way. That wasn't just me. It was Eddie.
Thank you, Sean.
But Jeremy was asking about it too. When she has just the tear in her eye, like it is so beautiful and it's heartbreaking. But no, going back, Sean, talking to you, I do think that Ariana Grande plays it perfectly. There's a complete transition, and it's with Popular. But I think what we get with that is that up until that point, she herself is so wrapped up in everybody else's impression of her, similar to Elphaba, right? Just in the opposite ends of the spectrum. And finally with Popular, and with the dance, and then with Popular, she just says kind of, fuck it. I'm gonna be me for the first time. I'm gonna be me. And that is a caring person. And we see that all the way, even till the end when she says, I can't come with you when you're flying off on the broom. I can't come with you. But at this point, Ed, she is still very much rooting for and helping Elphaba. I mean, there is the transition there.
Well, she's Team Elphaba. I mean,
sure,
and I love when she gives her the cloak.
God,
the cloak. I mean, and that cloak was just. I don't use the word very, very fabulous.
That was sick. That was dope. I was like, whoa.
That was dope.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
What is your favorite scene in this movie? What is the one scene that you just love so much and that you want to just keep watching it over and over? And I understand Defying Gravity is one of the best scenes, but what is other scenes that in this movie that
let me do this one first, because it's going to be super anticlimactic. And I have this in my notes to talk about, but it just kind of feels super anticlimactic now because we just talked about it. It's the dance scene. Where in the dance scene Wednesday, I know I'm comparing the two because they're basically the same scene. Tim Burton ripped it off. I love Tim Burton, but still, there's something magical and there's something emotional and there's something transitory, right? In the sense that we're seeing the transition from characters at the beginning of the film to what they become in the second half of the film, but also the second part of the franchise that we're going to get in November. And listeners, we are for sure, damn it, we're going to be doing a new release recording of that at Thanksgiving time.
We'll be in the sing-along theater.
I will be there, probably midnight showing. But I'm going to say it's the dance scene because of one reason, Jared, and that is Cynthia Erivo and her absolutely handling the scene with more emotional aplomb and power than I think you're going to see in actors nowadays. I think that this is a special thing. And Sean, a couple weeks ago or last week, I can't remember when it was, you and I were talking, I think it was on air here, about Cynthia Erivo and if she is going to win. And I said, I think that she's going to win in the second half. I think that she's going to win next year. I don't think she's going to win best. Well, then I watched it again. And Sean, you're absolutely right. She is going to win this one. And I'm going to make a prediction because honestly, Jerry, you can cut this. I don't know when we're airing this, if it's before or after Oscars, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is going to win Best Picture.
It's my limb.
It's not. It's gonna win. I'll bet you $2.
Best Actress.
She's gonna win Best Actress.
She'll win Best Actress. It will win Best Picture. Okay, so my favorite scene is has got to be when they're off to see the wizard. The train, from the moment they get on the train to that. They get to Emerald City and they have kind of the explanation of the plot, how the wizard came in a balloon, and there's this, and all of a sudden I'm like, we're starting to get the plot, where we're not just getting character development, we're getting plot. And I thought that was what a beautiful way to catch the audience up on the plot in a wonderfully magical way. And I don't know if anyone saw Toto in the background. There was a in the beginning of the play that they were putting on, there was a little dog that went in the very back. It was very cute. To show what was a little Easter egg. And then you transition into the relationship with the wizard, which was so different than what Dorothy faced. I thought that whole dynamic, that whole scene was just beautiful. And it was so nice to see Emerald City. That was the whole disappointment of Wizard of Oz for me, is they finally got to Emerald City and it's like, yeah, we ran out of money.
Here's a warehouse.
It's one big room and here's a horse that changes colors and like, we're done. We have nothing.
When I was little, that was so cool. Like, oh my God, the horse is changing colors. Holy shit.
I have two different parts. Is when you first see Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't know he was in this movie. And it's funny because earlier there was a statue of the Oz in the background of a pitch of and in my head I was thinking, that looks like fucking Jeff Goldblum. That really looks like Jeff Goldblum. And it was a statue of him in the background, and it was of Oz. So then as soon as I could hear his voice, he has this, distinct voice. So
does he now? Oh,
he does, Sean. Yes, he does, my friend.
You didn't hear it? You didn't hear that distinct voice earlier in the movie?
Shut it, Sean.
I did not. No, but there was a lot going on. I was sitting down watching the movie with my kids. I was trying to get them to sit down and shut up and eat the popcorn. Glinda and, I don't want to call her the Wicked Witch. Elfie. Yeah. So Elfie and Glinda, they're both just like adorable, walking up to the Oz, opening it, and it's got real dark, and then they're pushing each other, and it was just very cute and very wholesome moment there. The other part, I would say, is the whole makeover. Like, the whole makeover was just fun. I enjoy the makeover part. Yeah, like, it was cool to see. Elfie did a great job with saying, "Oh, that's not me. That's not my style. That's not my style." But then you saw a little throwback. You saw a little throwback to the shoes too. I think a little bit to the red shoes, and I thought that was cool.
That was with her sister. Yeah, that was with her sister.
So one thing I do want to make it clear now, Ed, and I'm not sure if you guys know, but this is a really cool version of the story, because they're going back in Wicked. They're going back to the original book, and the original book is that Dorothy doesn't have ruby slippers, and they only did ruby slippers because they stood out more on the color for the 1939 film.
Diamond slippers, didn't she?
Silver slippers, because Wizard of Oz is a complete allegory. Which, if you guys want to get that, we can go into it. But it's an allegory for Industrial Revolution and for basically the beginning of capitalism within the U.S. and the factory system. We don't need to go down that path, but that's why we see the silver slippers. That's why the dad at the beginning, when he drops off Nessa Rose, gives Nessa Rose mom's slippers, and they're not ruby. You're not going to see ruby slippers. Oh, Ed, you're absolutely right. They give a little nod to it in Popular. But those silver slippers are going to become really, really important come part 2.
Yeah, I actually asked that with Hannah. I'm like, yo, what's up with the slippers? I thought it was supposed to be red. And she told me, like, nope, not in the book. In the book, it was always a silver.
So what are your favorite part there, Jeremiah?
Well, I have to say that seriously, there's two parts I love. One is that I love the train sequence to go into Emerald City. In a lot of ways, if the movie ended right there, them going to Emerald City, I could have been totally cool with it and shit like that, And they could have made like the whole defying gravity sequence as the two towers of Wicked, and made that as another movie.
3-part movie. Yeah. Just needs to be a 3-part movie. It would have been cool.
A 2-hour defying gravity sequence.
You can do so much stuff with the Emerald City sequence, and then that'll be the 2-tower moment of defying gravity. See, I'm all Lord of the Rings out on this shit right here, okay? However, that's one of my favorite sequences of the movie. But the last scene when Cynthia is flying and you're flying with her, like all Neo and Matrix and shit like that. But it's so badass, dude. Yeah. She's so powerful and she so owns the screen that you're just like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And I'm like, oh, that's right. We gotta wait until fucking 12 months from now. Shit. But that was one of my favorite scenes. I love it.
Yeah, I agree.
Really hope that Cynthia does win the Oscar for this.
The thing that me and Brandon were talking about, and I want to clarify this, is that she won't get it for number 2 because Defying Gravity is not in number 2, and if she's gonna get it, this is the one she's gonna get it for. Is what my point was.
Well, here's this, dude. Okay, so we know that this is probably one of the biggest songs of Wicked, right?
All time, yeah.
All time. So supposedly the original composer, what's his name? Stephen Schwartz. he's actually going to be writing
Schwartz.
2
Schwartz.
original songs with Cynthia for the second movie. So you're going to hear 2
Okay.
brand new songs. So it might be something fucking huge, and Cynthia's going to own it because she has one of the most
Well, she'll own it no matter what it
powerful
is.
voice,
Yeah.
you know? So like it could be something that she might get the gold in the end.
So the bad guy is Oz the whole time, right? He's just a really scum guy, it seems.
Okay, so here's
Oh, really? Is
the
he
plot
bad? Is he
we
not
know.
bad?
Yes
Here's
and
the
no.
plot we know. We know that Oz is a huckster. He's a fraud. He's a trickster.
Yes.
He's always been that.
Yep.
We know that he can't use the
Grimoire.
the book for
The book.
the Grimoire for incantation.
anything.
We know that Oz has always been a purveyor, that he is magical and great and powerful, and he isn't. His idea is industry. His idea is connecting Oz with the Yellow Brick Road. I mean, these are reasonable, nice things to think about, and he uses his gravitas to get them done. So now we have the question of
With the
why.
animals.
Why is he so afraid of the animals? What's going on there? What do they pose? What threat do they pose him? And then you've got this shadow character of Madame
Marble.
Yeah.
Madame Marble, which I will say this right now. My biggest criticism of this movie is the casting of Oz and the casting of Miss Marble. I absolutely love Jeff Goldblum. I think Jeff Goldblum is a great actor. The dude is not a great singer. And when you have him next to Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, I need
Right.
someone who's going to bring a little bit to the game. Just a little bit. Just give me something. Because you didn't bring it. And the same thing can be said for Michelle Yeoh, who I adore. I've loved her since she was a James Bond girl in Tomorrow Never Dies. That's the
She was
first
also
time
in the
I ever
movie
saw her.
Everything, Everywhere.
She won an Academy Award for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my point is that those two people are not bad actors. They were bad casts. Bad casting on both of them, my opinion. And that's my biggest criticism of this movie. And why it's not a 0 in my head.
Well, compared to like Cynthia and Ariana Grande, I mean, they don't really have that much room to breathe. I think the second movie, I think having those 2 actors are really going to do something for the second part of the movie. I think they're going to be doing
Perhaps.
really well.
Okay.
Well, my thing is, how many songs were in the original? How many?
6.
3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a musical.
Oh, it's
yeah, Over the Rainbow.
Munchkin Land, Over the Rainbow, and
If I only had a brain.
It's not a musical. I mean,
way
there's
more than I thought. No, way more than I thought.
Courage.
Yeah, I think it's
Lion
5-ish.
and Courage. Yeah,
When
it's
he breaks
it's
the
a musical,
crown.
not a musical.
Yeah. 100%.
So my thing is, this movie had more.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it almost became overwhelming for me. I was just like, I wanted a little bit less of it, if that makes sense.
Do you ever
Like, I
think
wanted
that
to
maybe you don't like musicals? Because you
I
say
love
that about every
musicals.
musical.
I love musicals. I just was like, I wanted more of everything. Like you just got done with a musical and you hop into a room and another musical just happens on the table. It's just like, all right, let's just get the movie.
So you
going
like
a little
Disney
bit.
musicals? That's what you like.
No.
Ed. You like
No,
story,
I like
story,
to-
story.
I like
music.
movies.
Story, music.
I like movies and about like 4 to 5 songs, not 8 to 10 songs.
It's really hard for a movie like this because this movie is
Is a musical.
a musical Broadway
Yeah.
play. So
Yeah, I
it's
know.
really hard to do that one.
One of the things that I will say right now that I absolutely hate is a musical like Evita, where they sing every single word of the play. I can't stand that. And Evita's great.
Les Mis
I
is
just
like
can't.
that.
Les Mis is like that. I can't. Just stop singing
The
and give me
truth
like
is,
for a moment. It's like that
never
moment in
let you.
Cloverfield where the camera finally falls over and it stops moving, and you're like, okay, a
Peace and
moment
quiet.
without music. Thank God.
Brandon,
So-
what's the question?
Yeah, so I just want to jump on kind of what Sean was saying, that I have only one issue with this movie, and it is the casting of those 2. And yeah, independently as actors, as people, I appreciate them, I support them, I love them, but to me, they actively took away some of the magical qualities of this film. And they took it away not just, and I'm going to push it a little bit more, Sean, not just because of their lack of pitch and tone, because I think that you can have a non-singer in a singing role who can't sing well, but at least brings kind of that, oh, okay, well, they're trying and I appreciate it. Mamma Mia with Pierce Brosnan, right? You've got all these examples. I think that you can do that. I think that these 2 actors were just out of their realm of comfort to me. And again, it goes beyond to me just the music. and they detracted from the movie. I think that I get why they picked Goldblum, because he's flighty, he is strange, he's
That's
adorably
awesome.
strange. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong.
Richard Gere could have done it. I mean, there's a lot
No
of
way.
older
I mean,
men that could have done it.
yes. And
They
Michelle
wanted
Yeoh, I
something
know that
funny.
they
They
brought
were looking
Michelle
for
Yeoh
funny.
in because she, at the time they were casting this, it was right off the heels of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and she was and is a fantastic actress.
I do acquiesce with what Jeremiah said. If their principal acting is going to be, excuse me, hold on, let me rephrase. If the reason that they were brought in is for their acting, and they're going to drive the second half of the story with acting, I'm okay with it. But if they're going to open their mouths and sing a freaking tune, then they should have been cast differently. There's enough actors in Hollywood that can sing and that fit that bill that you don't need. Right. You don't need to cast them.
But to jump on
piggyback,
go ahead.
No, just to piggyback what you're saying, Brandon. Like, I do think part 2 is going to be darker. I think it's going to be more epic, and I think having those two confident actors is going to really do the movie well. I do like that scene with Jeff Goldblum where he's singing, but he's actually doing it behind the curtain and kind of pays the homage of like the man behind the curtain type of thing. I think there's scenes that they have in this movie that I felt like, okay, I'm with you.
But see, that's the directing. That's beautiful directing. That is,
I get it.
Inability
to
act. Yeah. But no, I just want to just touch on, Sean, what you had mentioned before with Oz, is that Oz is in his brain, he's trying to unify Oz. I mean, so we can give him that. He gives us the reason why he's going after the animals. He's giving.
I think he's trying to industrialize Oz.
Well, what he's doing though, he's trying to bring them together, and he says it goes back to one of the great sports movies that we've talked about doing, but we never will, is Miracle, is that you give the people a common enemy, right? And that's what unites them. And he is doing that with the animals, but then by default or by happenstance, the common enemy doesn't just become the animals, it becomes Elphaba. And so he's able to unite. His whole goal is to bring together, but Sean, you're right, to bring together in order to get everybody to go along with what he wants. And so, he is, Eddie, spoiler alert with this, he's not a good dude. Like, his intentions might be noble, but he is the evil.
I don't think he's an evil dude. I think he's an opportunistic dude.
He is opportunistic.
No, I don't.
But he's also, I think he's ruining an entire people group or animal group. Like, that's what he's doing.
I don't think he's, well, we don't know why yet. I would say right now he's a villain with a lowercase v.
I think he's a front man. I think the main villain is going to be the teacher, right?
Yeah.
Madam Web.
Marble.
So I was looking for more, not magic, but more, I don't know, school sessions. Like, I feel like the only people you never would show the time in class besides the poppy where everyone passed out.
They didn't learn. They did not learn much.
There was no. I was like, they're at school, and there was no school lessons learned for anyone. I wanted to see some magic. Like, I want to see Elfie. Like, oh, I can do this, and this is how I learn how to do this. And then even Glinda learned a little couple moves.
So, what do you want in the second part of the movie? What is what you're looking for in the second part of the movie? Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't remember exactly what happens. That's my problem, and I have not looked it up. But what I want is catharsis between the old story, the original Wizard of Oz, and this story. I want them to meld together, mesh together. I don't want them to ruin anything about the original, and I want them to build on it. And I remember that feeling at the end of the movie. I don't remember what happens, but I remember that feeling is there. And in the play it was. When I sat down in the play, I was like, that was such a beautiful tribute. It was a beautiful companion piece, not an overcoming piece.
Well, Sean, I do remember much of it, and I did look it up to remind myself and be like, oh yes, I was right in that memory. And it does that. And Eddie, I know that you're wanting this. It connects the bridge. It's the bridge that connects Wizard of Oz and Wicked. And the way that they do it, I mean, when I was watching it live in Pantages and Defying Gravity hit, and like I said, I was stunned. I sat for like a minute and a half and just I couldn't move and go to the bathroom or whatever during the intermission for a little bit. And then the actual play ended, and it was like that stupid movie moment where you're like, those bastards actually did it. Those assholes, they figured out a way to do it, because you're sitting there the whole time going like, this is not my Wicked Witch. And the way that they bring it out, and I'm not going to give any kind of allusion to what happens, but the way that they connect it and the way they bring in the characters that we know and love, and the way that it happens is it's going to be there just by default. Sean, it's going to be there. Jeremy, what I am looking for is I'm looking for a little bit of an edge to be brought into Elphaba. I want that edge to be brought in. I want that completely now dynamic where she's got determination, she's got sadness. Part 2, I want to see the anger come in, and then the anger and that cathartic release of the anger towards goodness. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, like, to me, this is Elphaba's character right here. She's like a 3/4 moon. I want that full moon to come through. I want her to have that full circle. And I genuinely do think it's going to happen. But that's what I'm looking for.
Eddie.
I know a little bit about who becomes the Tin Man and who becomes the Scarecrow. The lion is, I'm trying to think of who becomes the lion. I'm trying to figure that one out. That's how he sounds like, too.
You already met him,
dude.
You have seen him.
I have an idea now. You gave me an idea. So it'll be cool to see that, to see how those three awesome characters, come about. And then also, I want to see, I don't know, a little bit of a fight between the good versus evil. And then everyone just says she's evil, but then it's putting a little twist on it. Like, she's not really evil. She's just been pushed up against a wall, and she's fighting back a little bit.
But does she become capital E
evil? But then she does become capital E evil because she gets pissed off, possibly because her sister dies or something. I don't know.
First of all, let me just say this, and I'm not spoiling anything. But what you think you know, you do not know. What you think you believe, you do not believe. What you think will happen will not happen.
Jeremiah, what do you think's going to happen?
What I'm hoping for the next part is that I wanted to be more of the Lord of the Rings and explore different parts of the map and the land and everything. Because when you watch the play, you see this beautiful map structure of like all different locations and everything, as well as when you read the book, you open the book and you have different like locations in different parts of the world. I hope that we get to discover more of that, and I hope that in part of the movie where you see Cynthia like exploring different ways and just going through that avenue. I want more of the universe into the second one, hopefully. So we'll see how it goes.
So less interpersonal, more world building.
I hope so, man. Come on. I want my 2 towers, and I want my Return of the King shit here in the second one.
Obviously, it's not the wrong movie. That's what I was told.
How fun would it be if they just throw an audible and they're like, haha, it's actually a 3-parter. Gotcha.
I'll never forget watching The Hobbit in theaters with Brett McIntosh. We're literally at Mountain Doom, like you could see it in the distance, and the Smog's eye is opening, and he goes, "Is this 2 or 3 parts? Like what?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, it's a trilogy." I've been waiting for them to get to the mountain the whole time.
Son of a bitch. Now, listeners, we have reached to the end of review. It's time for each of the hosts to provide his score. Eddie, please provide our scale, please.
Yes, 0, the perfect movie. You don't need nothing to enjoy it. 1, a feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're going to Uber or Lyft home. 4, rough morning walk of shame. 5, blackout. Spring break drunk. All right, gentlemen, put in your scores.
Unlimited.
I hope you're happy now. I hope
you're happy now. I am happy now. So
yeah, this is
Eddie's
one of those
scores.
Me
out. I'm just gonna say it. He's gonna balance me out.
Popular. I want to be popular.
We ready?
1, 2.
All right.
Go.
Yes.
Let's go.
So I'm the GOAT. So first time seeing this movie and never watched the play, but I enjoyed it. So personally, I think it's a good score. I think you guys thought it was a higher movie than, but I think this is actually out of this day and age, musicals, I think this is a great musical. And I actually really enjoyed Cynthia and Ariana. Like, they carried the movie the whole time. I do think beyond them 2 characters, it drops off very quickly with just the rest. I enjoy Jeff Goldblum and all these other characters, but overall, some of them I felt like it just drops off after 2, technically. So that's how I feel about this. I'm going to give this a feel-good first cocktail with a half a shot, a 1.25. Great movie. I would definitely want to watch it. I can't wait for the second one, though.
Yeah, so Eddie, no, I thought you were going to rate it worse. So I'm pleasantly
I enjoyed it.
Happy with your score. So okay, so here's the deal. If we had done this recording immediately after I saw it in theaters, it was too fresh. It was too new. It was too overwhelming, and I needed a second view. I needed a second viewing of this. I'm so happy that I got it, because I sat there and I appreciate it. Like, I loved it when I came out of the theater, but I obsessively loved it when I finished watching it on Blu-ray. And like I said, I genuinely could have restarted it if it wasn't a 2-hour movie and not a basically 3-hour movie, I probably would have. It's dynamic. There's so many things going on. It sets up, beautifully. I have two problems with this movie. One is that it's frustrating. Jeremy, you said this earlier. It's frustrating that we can't just get the whole story all at once, because I think that this is just such a great story that I want to see it all the way from start to finish. But this is the type of movie that I think in a couple of years, my family at least, we're going to do a marathon where we watch both of them back to back, in a 5-hour period, a 6-hour period. But my big issue, and the reason that I scored it the way I did, is just the casting of Goldblum and Yo. They're just bad, and I mean, not them as people, but the casting of them. And so because of that, I'm going to show everybody, because I'm really proud of my drawing right here.
It's very cute.
It is a very adorable.
My friends.
I'm going 0.2 because each of them took away a point in my category. One of them, that's Goldblum, and the other one is Michelle Yeoh. So that's what I'm giving it. It's a 0.2. I think it is a fantastic movie. I cannot wait till November. I'm going to be there, probably more excited than my kids, who also enjoyed it. And Ellie, my daughter, is still scarred for life about the goat. Like, she can't watch it. She talks about it just randomly. She's just like, I like Wicked. She's now listening to it nonstop on the CD, but she's like, I don't like when they take the goat. And I'm like, me neither. So, it's a movie it's a family movie. It's nice to have one of those, especially with the fact that it does have some political undertones, but it's not so in the face, and you can enjoy it with the family without, trying to explain everything. So I'm going to go with Jer. Let's go with Jer.
Just Jer. Thank you. Chair. I appreciate it. Listen, like, when this movie came out, I didn't think it was going to work, because I just thought, okay, there's nothing that's going to beat Dune Part 2. And that's the best movie of the year, of last year. I saw the Broadway play, and I'm like, okay, how are they going to do this shit? There's no way. And guess what? They knocked this movie out of the park. This movie should be celebrated in every single way, because you know why? This is the reason why you go to the movie theaters. You want to get lost. This is bigger than you. This is bigger than everyone. And that's what you want to be a part of when you see this movie. Cynthia is going to be the biggest star. Unbelievable in this film. She makes the film. I just absolutely love it. I think the director made the impossible possible. I keep saying that, but he absolutely did. The only problem what I had with this issue was that some of the CGI it was not really about, it felt like, okay, that looks like a little CGI. And you know what? I would have ended the movie and split it into 3 parts, because that's what I want, because I want more of this vibe for the next 3 to 5 years and shit like that. That's just how I am. So I give it a 0.89. Part 2, hopefully it is the Two Towers. Hopefully it is Return of the King, which is 0 and gets everything, wraps it up and all in a nice, beautiful basket. I can't wait for it. This is the reason why you go to movie theaters. 0.89.
Sean, the great and powerful.
Oh, sure, I'll go. Yeah, for sure. So for me, I think my score is a little low. I did not want to do the same thing I did to Dune 1 in this movie. One of the problems I had with Dune 1 was that the story wasn't finished, and I feel like I am cheating slightly because I know the finish of this story, and so it's easier for me to see the greatness in the first one as opposed to be reflect after I've seen the second one. I will say that's a little bit of a difference. That being said, I think that this isn't. You can't compare this to something like Dune 2. As much as we want to compare to Lord of the Rings or Dune 2, those are science fiction fantasy epics. This might be a fantasy epic, but at the end of the day, it's a musical. And if you look at it from a musical standpoint, it's one of the best musicals put to screen I've ever seen. Sound of Music is obviously my favorite musical of all time. That's a 0. This one is up there. It's just the music is great. The costumes are great. Everything about it is great. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's 3 hours long, and I want more. I want another movie. I want, like Jeremiah said, split it into 3. Give me 3. Give me 14 of everything. I want more of it. I love it. That being said, I think Jeff Goldblum does detract. I think Michelle Yeoh does detract. However, I did change my score from a 1 to a 0.5, or from a 0.25 to a 0.5 because, wait, no. I went down because Jeremiah said that their acting might become important in part 2. So my score got better because of that. Mm-hmm. So I gave it a 0.5. It's a shot. It's not quite a feel-good first cocktail, but not quite a 0. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the finish of part 2.
Awesome, dude. And what I mean about, like, the whole Lord of the Rings and Dune is that these were all books before it was either a musical or a movie right now. All 3 of them were adapted, right? And somehow they were able to actually make it happen and able to actually put it on screen. And that's what I mean by like with Wicked, like, you know, this was a popular book before it became a musical. They were able to do it. I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
So not to prolong the episode, but do you think that this movie would have done as well if it wasn't a historically magnificent play before?
I don't know, man. I think the magic
That
comes
helped.
around with the musical, man. There's something special about it.
Something about it being a play, it helped. That's like the best publicity the past 15 years.
I think it wouldn't have had the initial response and buzz that it had, but it would have gained it from word of mouth. So I do think it would have probably been as big as it has become, but the initial excitement for it was definitely created because of the quality of the fact that it's Wicked.
So I just wonder. I wonder if the source material and the hype of the theater has any effect on the ultimate success of the movie.
Because everyone was already dressing up and wanted to sing the songs and be a part of it, you know? That's what I'm talking about. It's bigger than all of us, you know? You want to be a part of this world. And I think the musical did something with it.
That's actually Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid, my friend. I was thinking that too.
When we combine the scores and divide by 4, what does Wicked get an average rating of there, Eddie?
A 0.71. A 0.71.
And
guess
Jeremiah,
where it's at, guys.
Where does that put us on the list of films that we've reviewed? Before you do that, let's have Brandon, give us a number.
I'm saying 21. I'm saying lucky number 21.
Ed?
Number 21.
I want to say 25.
I'm going to go with my friend's number 33.
You guys are all higher.
Ooh.
Oh, it's like 9.
So it's number 16.
Oh, lucky 16.
Okay. So what is better than what is better than Wicked?
Okay, so what's better than Wicked is the original Joker, Ghost, Sandlot, Pulp Fiction, Sound of Music, Logan.
It's right
and
there.
And what's worse than Wicked?
What's worse than Wicked is Spider-Man No Way Home, Remember the Titans, Dune Part 2, and just to let you know, Dune Part 2 is a 0.75 and this is a 0.71. They're very close, by the way. You also got Home Alone, Gladiator, and The Shining.
Sean, say it. Say it, buddy. Please, say it.
I think that it's where it's supposed to be.
Jeremiah, we need to get merchandise with that quote on the back. I'm telling you.
That's a good idea, man. How we scored it was very close to Dune Part 2. I mean, it's just like, those movies are like, either of those two movies should win the fucking Best Picture of this year, but, they're just right there each other. So I think it's a good fit. What do you guys think? You guys cool with it?
I'm happy.
I think, once again, it is where it's supposed to be. Ed, what do you think?
Yeah, it's exactly where it's supposed to be.
All right,
Brandon.
So whoever picked it, we're gonna go dark. We're gonna go demented. We're gonna be going serial killer. We're gonna be making ourselves feel uncomfortable. We're gonna go with long legs, and so that's where we're going next week.
And the reason why we're doing this, listeners, is because Oz Perkins, the director who actually directed this movie last year, was one of the biggest horror films that made over $100 million. Right. Well, right now he has a new movie coming out called Monkey that is being released, and it's actually kicking ass in the box office. And you know what? So we're going to see about this director, Oz Perkins, who is Anthony Perkins' son, by the way, which is kind of interesting.
Indeed.
That is very interesting. So you can also, I just want to let you know, this movie is available on Hulu. And one of the reasons why we are watching it, and I watched it last week in preparation for this podcast, I think I was a big driver.
Was it daytime? Was it you watch it during the daytime or you watch it at night?
Oh, 100%. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. I literally woke up on a Saturday morning and I was like, long legs, here we go. But it's Nicolas Cage, and I believe Nicolas Cage is on a comeback. And I think this is one of 10 projects that's going to bring him back. And Eddie, do we have any shout-outs this week?
Yes, we do. We have Shoreville, Minnesota. That's Minnesota, Shoreville. Cincinnati, Ohio. So thank you, Cincinnati,
Ohio.
Cincy. Missoula, Montana. Missoula, Montana. I was almost there. I almost said that, but I said thank you. Thank you, Michigan.
Listeners in Minnesota, Ohio, Montana, Michigan. I mean, hey,
we're getting around the globe. We're like the Globetrotters.
You know what? Basically, all those places are freezing right now.
Pleasantville.
So just stay indoors and listen to us.
Thank you so much for listening to us when it's winter and freezing.
Yes.
Really appreciate it, listeners.
We really wanted to get some more listener participation, so we've streamlined the situation. All you need to do is drop us a direct message on Instagram, leave comments on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to ring that bell. You can also leave comments on our Instagram page. We'd love to know what movies you want, what movies are on top of mind. Something that we want to do is do the movies that you want to hear. Do reviews of movies you want to watch. So please make sure to leave 5-star reviews wherever you're listening. We're really excited to bring you a combo of new films in theaters, classics, a groundbreaking television series. We're in the middle of season 3 of White Lotus. Well, the middle of we did the first episode. Now probably episode 2. But we're going to bring you the last season of Stranger Things, the second season of Wednesday, and The Last of Us, respectively. I saw a poster for The Last of Us yesterday, and I have a hard feeling that we're in for some heartbreak here.
Seems like bad things are going to happen.
Seems like bad shit's gonna go down, and my buddy Pedro ain't gonna make it. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and just go out there and defy all the gravity that you can.
Well, look
Cheers,
at you,
gentlemen.
Sean.
Cheers.
Cheers.